All right, let's jump in. Today, we're going to go back in time and talk about a real game changer in the history of data, Oracle 9i, and how it was built for what they called the resilient enterprise. Now, to really get why 9i was such a big deal, you got to picture the scene. It's 2001. The dot-com bubble, yeah, it had burst. Big time. The huge internet party was officially over. And for businesses, the name of the game changed overnight to just one thing: survival.
So, out of all that chaos, a new demand popped up. The world didn't just want clever or fast technology anymore. What they desperately needed was technology that was tough, something that was fundamentally resilient and that you could actually trust with your entire business.
So what were the big pressures everyone was facing? Well, first off, just plain survival and stability, keeping the lights on. Second, they needed to handle scale like never before, because even with the crash, the internet wasn't going anywhere. And third, maybe most importantly, fault tolerance. The idea that your system could just go down? Nope, that was no longer an option.
And right into this perfect storm of need steps Oracle. Their answer to this whole crisis of technology and confidence was Database 9i.
Yep, 2001. They dropped it right in the middle of all this post-crash anxiety. And that little I in the name? It still stood for internet, sure, but its mission had totally shifted. It wasn't about explosive growth anymore. It was about enterprise survival and being able to scale reliably.
All right, so what was the secret sauce? What made 9i so incredibly special? Let's get into the innovations that really set it apart and pretty much defined a new standard for every database that came after.
The big one, the headliner, was something called Real Application Clusters, or what everybody just calls RAC. Now, the core idea here was kind of wild for the time. For the first time, you could take a bunch of separate commodity servers and have them all work together to run a single, unified database.
And this shows you just what a massive leap this was. Before RAC, you had one big, expensive server, which was great until it failed. Then you were toast. It was a single point of failure with very limited scalability. But with RAC, totally different game. One server goes down, no big deal. The others just keep on chugging. Need more power? You just add another server to the cluster. This was a revolution.
But Oracle wasn't done, not by a long shot. They decided to tackle a question that gave every single database administrator nightmares. What if you could undo a huge, critical data error instantly? And their answer was brilliant. It was called Flashback Query. And honestly, the best way to think about it is exactly what it sounds like: data time travel. It was this incredible, almost magical feature that let you and your applications literally look back in time at your data as it existed in the past. So just think about how this would work. Someone makes a horrible, costly mistake, the kind that gets people fired. Instead of a full-blown, all-hands-on-deck panic to restore from a backup, you just initiate a flashback query, and boom, the data is available just as it was before the error. We're talking recovery that went from hours or even days down to minutes, a total game changer. Okay, so we've got resilience, we've got recovery. What was the third piece of the puzzle? Connection. You see, to be a truly resilient enterprise, all your different systems had to actually talk to each other. And at the time, that was a real mess. Oracle 9i embraced these emerging standards, XML and web services, and built them right into the database core. This meant your supply chain system could now talk seamlessly to your e-commerce platform, with the database acting as the universal translator. So when you put it all together, you get the 9i toolkit for this new era. You've got real application clusters for scalability and fault tolerance. You've got Flashback Query for lightning-fast data recovery. And you've got this native support for XML and web services to tie the whole enterprise together. But this was about so much more than just a cool list of features. The long-term impact of Oracle 9i was strategic, and it fundamentally shaped the entire next decade of database technology. And this quote just nails it. This release wasn't just technical, it was strategic. This wasn't just a bunch of brilliant engineers making cool tech. This was a deliberate business move by Oracle. They looked at the biggest fears their customers had and said, "We have the answer." And man, did it work. This combination gave Oracle a massive competitive edge. They could now offer a level of resilience, scalability, and integration in one package that nobody else could even come close to. Their rivals were left completely flat-footed, just scrambling to catch up.
So in the end, the legacy of Oracle 9i is just profound. By solving the most painful problems of its time with these groundbreaking features like RAC, it didn't just win the market. It literally set the stage for the entire modern era of distributed, highly available databases that we all rely on today.